How you guys doing? This is Real Sensi. Today we're here with Soultry Dubs. How you doing today?
Good, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you
Thanks
for so much
having
for
me.
coming. Before we get started, I just want to thank our sponsors, Puff Sauce, Red Feathers Farms, and Boundless Tech. This is some of the Boundless Tech stuff right here. Red Feathers Farms hooking it up, and so is Puff Sauce, so make sure you guys go check them out. Yo!
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming down, Soultry. We really
Thank you.
appreciate you. Thank you. How'd you get your start in music, and how long have you been playing for?
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
my first band was a band called The Divine Crime.
That's cool.
It started in around 2007-ish, 8, and that's where my whole musical journey started. I was a
Mm-hmm.
keyboard player in the band. There's
That's
about
awesome.
9, 10, sometimes 11 members. There
Wow.
was 3 backup singer girls.
Was it an all-girl band?
It wasn't an all-girl band. We had how many guys? There was, I think, 4 guys
Mm-hmm.
and 5, 3,
Girls?
4, 5 girls. Yeah. So
Nice.
we always were.
That's really
It
awesome.
always people always thought it was like a girl band.
Yeah.
Just because there was more girls than
Uh-huh.
guys, but it was balanced. I would say the majority of
That's
the time it was
amazing.
balanced.
That's so awesome.
So yeah, I was. That's where the journey started, and we released an album 2010, and we parted ways somewhere around 2012. I think was
I
our
feel.
last like shows.
But that's awesome, while it lasted and just the whole experience and the just putting an album out too.
Definitely,
cool.
yeah. I was like, still heartbroken over it.
I feel. Gotta reconnect.
Right.
Where did you get the name Soultry Dubs? Like, where did that come from?
So that came from originally it was a clothing line me and my sister started.
That's cool.
Just Soultry.
Mhm.
So that's where it first started, and then the name just kind of always stayed with me even after didn't continue with the clothing line. We did set up at festivals along the West Coast, different reggae festivals and
That's
stuff.
awesome.
But
Wow.
if you've ever done like merchandising or silk screening, like it's a lot of work. It's a
Yeah,
hustle, you know. I mean,
definitely.
you put a lot into it, and you don't always get the return.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fun and it was amazing to create. But that kind of just like fizzled out too. But I always kept the name.
That's awesome.
And then Dubs just kind of came naturally with the musical
Dub
path
stuff.
of, doing live dubs and
That's
stuff.
awesome. That's amazing how that all came to play.
Yeah,
That's
for
really
sure.
cool. You guys should really check her out, Soultry Dubs.
What kind of artists have inspired you to create reggae music?
Reggae music, well, growing up, since an early age, my dad always played reggae music. And since I was like 10, he was taking my entire family to Bob Marley Day in Long Beach.
That's awesome.
So I was always exposed to a lot of reggae. We would take long trips up to Humboldt to camp and stuff. And on those long trips, we would not primarily listen to reggae. It was really balanced, but that's
Yeah.
where my introduction to reggae came. We'd listen to a lot of Bob Marley, of course.
course.
You know who doesn't? I mean, come on. Peter Tosh was one of my favorites. There's something about Peter Tosh, his voice, just everything
He's
about
crazy.
Peter Tosh. I love Peter Tosh. Black Uhuru, Steel Pulse. We listened to a lot of Steel
course,
Pulse.
same here.
So that's where my introduction to reggae came from, was in my early childhood with my dad on our long trips up north.
That's
for sure.
awesome. Are there any artists that you want to collaborate with that you haven't been able to yet?
There is a lot. They're kind of like, they're kind of like far out of my reach,
Yeah.
but I definitely am inspired and moved by artists like John Nine. I just think she's amazing. Her presence, her message, everything about her is just super powerful.
That's awesome.
Natalie Rise is one of my other favorites, and I did get to collaborate with
that's
her.
pretty cool.
So that's kind of like a weird, one of those things where you're like, damn, life is a trip.
Yeah,
Like when you
straight
really
up.
want something, the universe or energies, come together to make
Yep.
things happen.
Yep. As long as you just
So,
keep pushing, keep
for
grinding,
sure.
that's the whole thing.
Well said. Honestly, that's really amazing that she came through and did that with you. That's so cool.
Yeah, it was really cool, and it kind of happened. Really organically. We connected. I'm like trying to think how we first connected, but we we connected. I started doing a remix of one of her tracks.
Songs.
She
That's
actually gave me permission to, which is not something that she like normally does,
Yeah.
but she did, and that's where she first kind of got introduced to my style and
That's
whatnot,
sick.
and she was cool with it. And then she put me on a few shows last year, and
That's
so
really
then
nice.
and then she
That's
put
super
me
cool.
on backing Marla Brown up north on a couple of her shows, so
That's
we
so
got to
awesome.
connect
That is
that
so
way.
cool.
And then the album, I hit her up
Mhm.
to do the intro, and
That
I
is
don't
so
think
cool.
if we had that relationship before, I don't know if it would have happened. Like, who is this
exactly.
girl?
Right?
You
That
know
is
what
so
I mean?
awesome.
Is her album
guys
gonna
made
be
that
whack? I don't know.
connection. Right?
Like,
That is so awesome. You guys made that amazing connection, and like also adding on to that, how is it making your album sultry sound?
it was. It's always an experience. I mean,
Right.
like, it started out as an idea in 2017. I was working with Ashley Ire,
Yes.
my girl, sister, and Kim, and Lion Child was actually the singer of Divine Crime back in the day.
That's
so
awesome.
we have a long
Old school.
relationship.
There you
Yeah.
go.
And I love all their styles. So for me, I was like, how could I get all of them on one body of work? And I love the diversity.
That's
It's
so
kind of like
awesome.
a band with two singers. There's something about that, like I Tell Vibes. Like,
Exactly.
you have Kennedy and
Levi.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I know your name. I do. I promise. I like that.
Right.
that
Diversity.
and Crooked Trees too. You have
Yes.
Beezy Boy and you have Oscar, and so on an album, I think hearing the different styles and the different voices is just there's something about
Brings
that.
a little life, to all the songs, and
Yeah, and
really
it's
awesome.
different. They all have their own flavor, their own thing to
That's
bring.
amazing. That's so awesome. It's really amazing. Your first full-length album with all girl reggae singers. So
Yeah.
big shout out. That's awesome.
Thank you.
What are some things you like to do to get inspired to write music?
A lot of the times, like Josh from Stony Eye Studios, he'll have like a sick beat, you know what I mean, that I'll hear, and I'm like, oh, let's expand on that, or let's,
Yeah,
that
definitely.
that really moves me. Let's
Going.
keep going with that one and make it something. And then usually, like, I do like to write lyrics. So a lot of the times choruses will come really easy for me.
That's awesome.
And so I'll hear a melody or lyrics, and then I'll think of a certain girl that I'm like, damn, this would be sick with her on it. You know what I
That
mean?
is so
Like,
cool. That's
so
amazing.
yeah, so I like to, I do like to write, and I'm always looking for like the right girl that would
Sing it.
bring whatever is going on in my head
That's so
to life.
awesome. There you go. Bring a little flair,
Yeah.
It's awesome what you're doing, letting everyone have a chance and sing on your songs and your dubs. It's really amazing.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So, what would you say is the message you're trying to portray in your music?
Unity, strength and unity. Us women coming together and supporting each other, not being pitted against each other or in competition. I think that's too much. A lot of the energy behind girls sometimes, that we're made to like compete, or that there can only be one, like, doing her thing, But I think that when we all come together, it's just like it's a beautiful thing to see women supporting each other, because guys do it.
Yeah.
I see guys all the time, like these,
All over.
the bands, they get together, they'll have their 20 bros on stage, just like bigging each other up, loving each other, you know what I mean? But we gotta have like, there's a lot of female artists out there, and we just need to support each other and know that we all have our own thing, and together we can really do some amazing things.
Make some great reggae music.
And I just love how it's like a whole big family too. So it's just amazing. Just the whole vibe and just the connection we get with every different person and the community. It's
For
amazing.
sure.
Can we expect any new projects coming from you in the next couple months?
I definitely want to put out singles now, because after working on an album, which took forever, by the way. Not because it was like, we worked on it consistently forever, but it's just the whole process can take so long.
Definitely.
And some of these songs were, done like a year ago, but, they had to be finalized, and it just takes a
Mix
long
and
time. But so
master.
now I want to put singles out. So I already have a lot of songs like lined
Ready.
up,
That's awesome.
kind of ready to go,
There you
and they have
go.
to just pump those singles out.
There you go. You got it. Keep it up. What has been your most memorable experience while being on stage?
Probably, honestly, opening for a lot of reggae legends. Like, I never would have, if I stopped playing music today and I look back at everything I have done and experienced, it would be opening for Yellow Man or Midnight.
That's awesome. Wow.
Pato Bonton was another person from my childhood that my dad had a cassette of.
Wow.
And the first time I met him was up north. We were opening for him, the Divine Crime was. And I always thought Pato Bonton was two people. I thought it was Pato and Bonton. So when I met Pato, because, he did the voice thing, and I so I'm older now, and I listened to him as a kid. And when I met him, I was like, where's Bonton?
That's so awesome. I love that.
Probably shouldn't be admitting this right now. You're going to be like, what?
All
But come on,
good.
you didn't know who Pato Bonton was when you were a little kid.
Right?
But yeah, so it was funny. But that would probably be, just growing up listening to these people that just seem so, these artists that seem so like distant,
Definitely.
and then later on in life,
Yeah, with
sharing
them.
sharing
amazing.
stage. Yeah.
It's amazing what reggae and like what you could do, the hard work shows if you just keep putting it in, We're all the same. It's really amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
How does it feel to be playing alongside Lion Child at the Lucidity Festival this year?
It feels great because, like, I love festivals. I mean, festivals are so much fun. And Lucidity,
Straight
I've
up.
gone one time. The Roosters are playing, and I went to go see them, support them. And the festival is super dope. Have you guys been?
No, not
No?
that. We're going to
Okay.
One Love this year.
Oh, okay, nice. Well, Lucidity's like different. It's different kind of music, different vibe, kind of eclectic, mixed.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to hear reggae in there, but it's not going to be like
Strictly
reggae-based.
reggae.
You're going to hear a lot of trance, dub, house, everything.
Yeah, it's everything.
Hip hop maybe too. Not like traditional hip hop, but like it's going to be like a mix.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And the craftsmanship and the way they put the whole festival together is super dope. Like the stages, the art installations, everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That sounds sick.
So yeah, it feels good.
What has been the hardest struggle you've had to overcome while being in the music industry?
Okay. So I would say being booked as a DJ a lot of the times because I've showed up to shows and usually, they have a turntable set up and they have a specific area for a DJ and everything's set. And then I come in with all my equipment,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
I
I'm
know,
like, this
right?
has got to
This is
go,
what's
and
up.
I gotta plug this in, and
Yeah.
can you move this?
Yeah.
And the sound man's usually like, what? You know what I mean? Like,
don't know.
you got how many plugs? Like, how many cords? Like,
I
so.
feel.
And then when I have the girls with me, it's even they get even more confused because I have this, a specific type of setup in order for me to be able to control the vocal dubs and stuff. And a lot of the times, sound men have been kind of in resistance with the setup because they just don't understand it. So there's been a lot of times where there's just like a lot of confusion in getting my whole setup together and whatnot. But
That's probably
know.
one of the hardest,
yeah, no, totally.
It's always the sound people, It's crazy.
But yeah, that's probably been one of the more challenges. There's probably other ones that I'm not thinking of right now.
You always want it to sound good, Like
Yeah.
that's really awesome. Is there anything you would change looking back at everything you've accomplished?
What would I change? I don't know. I'm kind of one of those people that are like, things happen the way they happen for a reason.
Exactly.
I'm here now, and this is where life has taken me, and all the
Exactly.
experiences thus far have led to me right now. So I'm just
Exactly.
cool with it.
That's
It's kind of
awesome.
like your childhood. I look at my childhood like, oh, I don't wish, these things could have been different because I would have been different if
Yeah.
these things were different,
Definitely.
So I've always just kind of been cool with the way things go.
That's awesome.
I mean, if there was one regret, it would have been maybe maybe not fighting like hard enough to keep, our band together back in the day. But
feel.
that's one of those things too. You can't fight the direction
just let it
something's
happen,
going.
That's awesome. You just gotta ride the wave, and
Mhm.
let it. It's all gonna work out. It's all
Mhm.
gonna get handled. So.
Yep. I wouldn't be doing this now if, if,
All that other
so
stuff didn't
yeah.
happen. So
Yep.
exactly. So what do you say is your favorite thing about the reggae scene?
Um, this reggae scene, this like SoCal reggae scene, right?
Yeah.
My favorite thing. This is I guess I don't know. I guess just how far it's come.
Yeah.
When I was in my band, it was so many like you knew every single band and you played with every single band. Like we played with Tribal Seeds a few times. Fortunate Youth, we played with them. When we were just like all kind of just hustling
Yeah.
and starting out, I never would have thought it would have like, well, I don't know if we ever even just thought about it, but I never would have imagined that it would have gotten as
Big as this.
like big as it is now. I mean, honestly, like I don't even know all the bands that are out there now because there's so many.
Yeah.
But it's still relatively small. So
yeah,
like
it's not huge, but
yeah,
it's a
so
big
like if there's
community.
a band out there that's like, damn, how am I gonna get on these shows? What am I gonna do? Like they're struggling to get their spot. You know what I mean? There's still room because if you look at the festivals and you look at the lineups, a lot of the lineups are a lot, there's a lot of the same lineups on a lot of the
Yeah.
festivals. And that just shows you that the scene still is not as huge,
Yep.
as we think it is.
Straight up.
There's a lot of bands, but there's still room, for plenty more. You just got to
Exactly.
work hard.
Yep.
And you got to
Room to
tour.
grow.
You got to tour.
Yeah, straight up.
That's the way.
Hell yeah, that is amazing. Is there any advice you would have for any aspiring musicians trying to do what you do?
Just spend a lot of time with yourself, just perfecting your craft. I don't really think there's a such thing as really like perfect. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? There's nothing perfect. We're constantly learning.
Definitely.
In music, you can never stop learning. So, I mean, there's
Keep grinding.
always room to grow constantly. But I would say just, get out there if you want. Play shows. Sometimes it can be scary. Like, you just got to put yourself out there. The
Yeah.
more you do it, the easier it becomes,
Definitely.
the better it is, the better you get.
That's awesome.
And it takes time,
And
yeah.
the whole community too. It's amazing. Like we all support each other.
Yeah.
Go out and just support each other's music because just posting it or just helping out people too. It's really just cool. That it's a cool community.
Yeah.
Is there anyone you would like to shout out that has helped you throughout your whole music process?
Stony Eye Studios.
Right? Big
Stony Eye Studios for sure. That's number one.
Yes.
Who else? Dang. Well, just shout out to all the girls on the album.
Right.
Lion Child, Natalie
Yes.
Rice, Ashley Ire, Empis Candace, and Sister and Kim. I
Check
love
'em
you
all
girls.
They're awesome.
Yeah, there's who else? Dang, can you think of anybody? I'm like, studio audience. Sorry, I'm gonna forget somebody. I'm gonna
You're
forget
good.
some people and like,
Everyone.
but yeah, I
Big
mean,
shout out.
That's all I can think of right now. There's just like, yeah, there's a lot of people who've helped along the way. Richard Lewis, 17th Street, he's been really kind to me. He offered to, do a mix on my album, and he's giving me access to some dubs on some of these, some artists in the scene right now,
That's
which is
awesome.
pretty cool. Yeah, and just anybody who's supported me along the way. I really appreciate you. Thank you. I'm sorry if I can't think of you right now.
And since we're real Sensi, we got to ask, what is your favorite strain?
Oh, man. It's been a long time, y'all. Like, dang. Okay, well, if I have to take it back, because that's what I'll have to do.
You
There
gotta do
was
what
a
you gotta
strain
do.
called Hawaiian Gold. I don't know if it's still around.
We're going to have to do some searching for that. Well, we really appreciate you coming. Big thanks to
Thank
Soultry
you.
Dubs. Make sure you guys go check her out. Check out her album.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you again. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Real
Much love to our
Sensi
sponsors
OG,
as well for keeping
Takara
us elevated.
My favorite name.